What if I told you that a single drop of water holds a secret to understanding Chinese philosophy, law, and even your own emotions? Several thousand years ago, the ancient Chinese looked at a river and didn't just see water. They saw the flow of life itself, and they drew it. This is the character Shuǐ. It started as a simple picture, a curving stream with droplets on the sides. But over time, it became something much bigger. Water in Chinese culture isn't just H2O. It's a living code that unlocks how the Chinese mind builds ideas, laws, and wisdom. Today, we're not going to memorize random characters. We're going to dive into the logic behind them. And we'll begin where water itself begins, with the character that captures its deepest nature. Part 1. The essence of water. Yong, eternity. This is Yong. Look at its earliest form. A pictograph of a river. A main stream with tributaries branching outward. The ancient Chinese observed that a river never stops flowing. And from that image, they drew the concept of eternity. Water doesn't pause, it continues, moment after moment, year after year. So, Yong came to mean eternal, forever. You hear it every day in words like 永远, forever, and 永恒, eternal. But more than a word, it's a philosophy. Life, like a river, gains its power not from being still, but from moving without end. When you write Yong, you are not just writing a character. You are tracing the outline of a river that has flowed for thousands of years and still flows today. Part 2. The water family. Radicals and logic. Water adapts. It takes the shape of whatever container it's in. And in Chinese, it does the same thing. When water, 水, becomes part of another character, it usually compresses into this, the three-dot water radical. This little radical creates a whole network of logical meanings. Let's look at a few examples. 河, river. On the left, water. On the right, 可, which means can or permissible. So a river is water that is allowed to flow. Originally, this character refers specifically to the Yellow River, the better river of China. Today, it's a general word for rivers. Simple, right? 海, sea. Now, what happens when water meets the character for every or each? 美. You get the sea. The ancient Chinese saw the sea as the place where every river ends. It's water as unity, gathering all streams into one. That's why the sea also symbolizes openness. We'll come back to that. 流, to flow. This character captures movement. In Chinese thinking, water that stops, stagnates. So, 流 is the root for words like 流动, to flow, to circulate. 流通 to circulate, to be in circulation. 流传 spread, to be passed down. 清 clear, pure. Here, water plus 清, that green-blue color of nature, gives us clarity. 清水 is clear water. But this character extends to the mind. 清醒 means clear-headed, rational, not clouded. So physical clarity mirrors moral clarity. 法 law, method. Now this one is fascinating. Why does the character for law has water on the left? Think about what water does when it's still. It becomes perfectly level. For the ancient Chinese, justice should be like water, completely impartial. That's the root of 法, meaning law. But remember, water is also flexible. When it hits an obstacle, it flows around. So 法 also means method, a way to solve a problem. Law provides balance. Method provides fluidity. And water doesn't only appear as 3 dots. The Chinese writing system captures the whole water cycle. The rain radical, 雨, gives us 雪, snow, 霜, frost, 露, dew, 雾, fog, 霉, mold. When it gets cold, water loses a drop and becomes an ice radical. 2-dot water. 冰 ice. 冻 freeze. 冷 cold. 凉 cool. And poetically, 凄 desolate. The coldness you feel in your heart. Sometimes, water hides at the bottom of a character. 水自敌. For example, 泉 spring. Water flowing from the source. 泰 peace, stability. For example, you see it in the idiom 国泰民安, a prosperous country and peaceful people. Water here acts as a stable foundation. And to convey the idea of water in its most expansive form, there is a character with 3 water stacked. 淼. It describes an endless, vast expanse of water. Part 3. A liquid vocabulary. From sweat to excellence. Now that we have seen how water builds characters, let's see how it builds abstract ideas in everyday Chinese. 汗水 sweat water. In Chinese, 汗水 literally sweat water, represents hard work and sacrifice. You might hear someone say, 这都是汗水换来的. All of this came from sweat. It's a way to make effort physically visible. 泪水 tear water. Whether from joy or sadness, tears in Chinese are also water. If you are learning Chinese, you might shed some 泪水 and a lot of 汗水, but that's a part of the journey. 水平 level, or standard. Literally, water level. In ancient times, still water was the most precise leveling tool. So today, when someone asks, 你的中文水平怎么样? How's your Chinese level? You're asking how level and solid your foundation is, just like the still water used to measure a perfect foundation. A close cousin is 水准. It also means standard, but it often implies a higher level of artistry or skill. You'd say a musician has 高水准, a superior level of excellence. Part 4. Timeless wisdom. What water teaches us. This is where we go deeper. In Chinese culture, water isn't just a practical tool. It's the ultimate teacher. Persistence. Dripping water persists stone. The Taoist classic 道德经 says, 善善若水. The highest good is like water. Water is humble. It flows downward. But it's also unstoppable. The idiom 滴水穿石. Dripping water persists stone. It's a lesson in consistency. You don't need to study 10 hours in one day and then quit. You need to be the constant drop. Persistence beats force. Gratitude. When drinking water, think of its source. The Confucian saying, 饮水思源, reminds us, never forget where your help came from. Your parents, your teachers, your roots. Clarity. Hard like still water. In Buddhism, there is the idol of 心如止水, hard like still water. It's not emptiness. It's calm clarity, able to reflect the world as it is, without distortion. Openness. The ocean accepts 100 rivers. 海纳百川. How does the ocean become great? By not rejecting any river. This idiom describes a leader or a person with an open mind, someone who listens to all views. Natural success. When water arrives, a channel forms. There is an ancient story. When floods ravaged ancient China, a hero named Da Yu didn't build higher walls to block the water. He understood that water needs to flow, so he dug channels to guide it to the sea. This idea lives in the idiom 水到渠成. When the water arrives, the channel forms. It means things will naturally succeed when the conditions are ready. So, don't obsess over the outcome. Focus on preparing the path. If you practice a little every day, success in learning Chinese will naturally happen. 水到渠成. Irreversibility. Spilled water is hard to recover. 覆水难收. Spilled water is hard to recover. It's the Chinese version of what's done is done. A reminder to act with care, because some things can be undone. Power and responsibility. Water that carries the boat can also overturn it. 水能载舟, 亦能覆舟. Water can carry a boat, but it also can overturn it. For a ruler, the people are the water. For a leader, their team. For any of us, the forces we rely on. The same support that lifts you up can bring you down if you take it for granted. A timeless lesson in humility, responsibility, and balance. From persistence to consequence, from clarity to responsibility. Water holds centuries of wisdom in a single drop. We've traveled from the pictograph of a flowing river to the wisdom of emperors and philosophers. When you write characters like 江, 河, 湖, or 海, you are touching thousands of years of thought. Water teaches us to be resilient, clear, humble, and persistent. And at the heart of it all is that first character we met, Yong, eternal. Because true growth, like a river, never stops. So I'll leave you with this, 永不停息, never stop flowing, 永远清澈, always stay clear. I want to ask you, which of these water lessons hits home for you? Is it the persistence of the dripping water, the openness of the ocean, or maybe the reminder that spilled water can be recovered? Let me know in the comments. And if there is a water saying from your own culture, I'd love to hear it. If this video helped you see Chinese in a new way, like it, subscribe, and share it with a friend who is learning. See you in the next one. Bye.